Hello all. This is the Gnome Avenger trapped in a hell beyond comprehension. He is at an open mic night run by the Cosmic Barista, otherwise known as the worst side of Beelzebub. However, there is a silver lining, and that is we get to hear part 3 of the Witch-Light Monologues, Recovery in the City by LJ Longo. Oh yeah!
Who would have guessed, as a 45-year-old witch, I would let my daughters talk me into a tarot-based matchmaking app. But here I am, drinking my cup of bitters mixed with honey and sweetwood, podcasting to my counselor's journal about a blind date. He's supposed to be wearing yellow. As a young human couple meeting with a goblin photographer and his Kappa assistant in the cafe, and I can't help but overhearing the planning. We want to do it at moonrise, in front of the witchlight, but the quality of the photographs are really important to us. The man is talking, and there's something off about his eyes. Will the time of day and the light be a problem? He keeps a wall of photographs from all over the place. The woman clings to his arm, much more confident in the photographer. The goblin is a little defensive. I know how to take a picture at the golden hour. The Kappa says, Otto, show him your portfolio. I sip my bitters and squint at the couple through the vapor. He works with magic, has a job looking directly at it. His eyes soften as he looks at the photos the goblin grudgingly hands him. Oh, these are very pretty, very interesting. There's some tie between the four of them. Strange. I can faintly see it. If I added a drop of wormwort to these bitters, even vanilla... I put the cup down. It's none of my business. It's not worth tainting myself again. I'm not here in this cafe because fate brought me to spy on a couple planning their wedding. I'm here because my daughters are meddlers and fools. I check my watch. Mr. Yellow will be here soon. Maybe it's an omen he's wearing a springtime color in the autumn. A bad one. Yellow's a great color. Sunshine. Warmth, growth. But it's my least favorite color. It always makes me think of sunshine, coal, and mistakes. Celestia is the one who put me onto this app, since we've been going to Sabbaths together as a way for me to reconnect to the higher power. I struggle with that step of the program. It comes from knowing too much about magic and how to manipulate the higher power. I tried to explain to Celestia that anything that goes through an electronic device can't conduct magic, but she looked so disappointed that I told her I'd give it a chance. Tiffany and Rochelle have been all too happy to join in complicating their mother's life. Tiff brought a green candle on the night of the waxing moon to indicate to the universe that I wanted to pull in good fortune, and Rochelle got us all matching robes. It felt like humoring them as I stood at the center of their little conjuring circle and turned the phone 3 times in my hand, then hit submit, and sent all my romantic hopes and dreams to the universe. A cup of tea later, and they all went home. Then, hardly half an hour later, I was messaging Mr. Yellow. He was nice, into hiking and theatrical plays, also a witch, also 45 and divorced, and also 3 children. This dating thing is not likely to go anywhere, but the prospect of that holiday dinner is daunting. Imagine 6 adult children and all their familial accoutrements, the boyfriends, the pets, eventually the children. No, dating Mr. Yellow is not going anywhere. This is preemptive worry. And I try to dismiss the thought like you've taught me, Dr. Butterfield. But it's a challenge. Sweetwood, is such an innocuous magic that they can serve it in a cafe without a license. But the little buzz radiates through me with a warm glow. I remember the days before the tower, when Celestia was only 5 or 6. Then I would have added at least 12 other herbs and elixirs to this little drink, just to steady my nerves, just to extend my magical reach, just to get me through my day. I check my watch. I'm very early, but soon Mr. Yellow will be late. Cole was always late, even to our first date, which happened to be at the campus bar. I remember I was so angry that I chugged an entire bottle of lavender and mint. Even in those days, I wasn't known for moderation. I was more hopeful then, though. After the potion, I posed and listened to the calm of my own mind, radiating pleasant energy and attracting my next lover, hoping to spite Cole. Years later, Cole still talked about hanging up his broom and rushing to the bar, being knocked off his feet by the aura of mystery and beauty surrounding me. I loved him for that. For saying that it wasn't the lavender and mint. For pretending it wasn't the potions. Even when it was clear they were drowning me. And today, 23 years later, there is no aura around me. Just a faint whiff of coffee, milk, and sugar. Mr. Yellow will enter the cafe and see a worn-out witch, with bags under her eyes and too much makeup, clinging to a paper cup of bitter brew like it's a broken wand. How did Celestia talk me into this? I am too old to date. I should live alone with my regrets and take consolation in my daughters and their children and their pets, and someone sits down across from me without any hesitation or other announcement. Hello, Zinka. You look lovely today. Cole! I am beyond shocked and utterly embarrassed. What are you doing here? Hello, hi, how have you been? He smiles faintly as I stumble into pleasantries. I've been good. I'm not late today by some miracle. How awkward. What if my date arrives and sees me sitting with another man? What if I have to explain it's my ex-husband? What if Mr. Yellow was a perfect second love, the exact person I need in the autumn of my life, and he's frightened away by... I think we might need to have a conversation with our daughters about boundaries and expectations or something. And then I realize Cole is wearing a white shirt and a bright yellow scarf. The scarf is dappled with red and orange and perfectly appropriate for fall. 45 and divorced, 3 children. Oh, those little shits. Made you get all dressed up for nothing. Zinka, you're not nothing. And Tiff brought me the scarf, enchanted it herself to keep me warm. Cole was always such a charmer, and he leans over the table to offer me a handful of the scarf. It radiates heat and such a soft, lucky energy. And to be honest, I suspected they were meddling. I had no such suspicions. Oh, really? What gave it away? Cole's eyes dart as he concocts a lie to keep me happy. Then he shifts his gaze back to my eyes and admits, You wrote full disclosure, alchemical bars are off limits. I was imprisoned when my magical dependence nearly cost me my soul and did cost me a good marriage. I did write that, didn't I? I'd added it after the fact when the girls were done combing my profile to make sure I sounded perfect and presentable in all ways. The whole thing felt like lying, and I didn't want to falsely advertise. It was very honest, very to the point, very like you. Yes, well, I try to keep this weirdness light, since the kappa at that other table has overheard some of this and is looking at us funny and beginning to write poems. You are on time, which is unlike you. It's purely accidental. Cole leans back in the chair, the same way he did as a boy in the academy, the same way he did it as a lecturer in the academy. I'd cost him that job, and I'm not sure what he's doing for work these days. I'm ashamed I don't know what he's doing for work these days. I got a good wind current. Since when do you hike, Zinka? I found myself craving a long walk in an isolated wood after my second week in the tower, and I became addicted to the idea of it. He laughs. I always loved his laugh. I missed his laugh. I missed him so much that it doesn't feel fair for me to keep sitting here as if we're on a real coffee date. Unfair for me to hold out hope. I thought you were with a wood nymph now. Oh, Lethe? He shrugs and shakes his head. Didn't work out. Ironically, for someone who's over 100 years old, she was very immature. I'm grateful. It's cruel of me, but I'm glad he's single. Casting about in life, looking for someone to replace me, unable to find her. I'm sorry to hear that. She was pretty. Cole grins. You're not sorry at all. I did not miss his piercing observations, but I am glad to be their subject again, however briefly. You're right, I hated her. Can we talk about why we hate her, or is it too soon for you? My ex-husband changes the topic. And how about you? Are you seeing anyone? Oh, no, of course not. It would be very unlike me to go on a dating app while I was seeing someone. I gulp at the coffee and wish it had lavender or mint or raw vanilla or something magical to keep me calm. People change. He shrugs again. Not that way, I hope. I chuckle desperately. I like to think I changed for the better. Since, well, you know. You have, Cole agrees. 10 years was nothing stronger than... What is in there? Cinnamon? I nod, feeling uncomfortably judged, like he's about to run an alchemical scan on my drink to be sure this little bit of sweet wood doesn't violate the conditions of my sacred oaths. There's a rather complicated list of how much magical ingredients someone like me can have in any combination, but everything is pretty okay in isolation. I mean, not the hard stuff, mandrake and wolfsbane, and who puts those in coffee? Zinky, do you want to treat this like a date? He leans forward, elbows resting on the table. Pretend like we've never met. Some things never change. Cole is still unbelievably naive, and I still want to shelter him from every terrible thing I've ever done. And that's not fair to him. Cole, we were married. We've had 3 daughters. I ruined your career and your life with my addiction. Why play pretend? He arches one brow and says, because I didn't know you liked to hike. Because people change for the better. And because I actually got here 10 minutes early and I saw you through the window, and the aura of mystery and beauty surrounding you still knocked me on my ass. I can't suppress my smile, and I don't want him to leave. But more than that, I don't want to hurt him anymore. I don't know, Cole. This is all a little embarrassing. I thought our girls were too old to dream of their parents getting back together. You know, I was thinking about that too. Maybe they had less to do with this than we think. I mean, they got me to download the app too. But what if we did match by kismet? At the other table, the Kappa gasps with delight, and his 3 friends lift their heads to get an explanation from him. Damn eavesdropper. Cole, please. It's over an electronic device. It doesn't mean there's not magic in the algorithm. I find it more likely that there's only 2 people in the city who are both 45-year-old witches with 3 children and an aversion to alchemical bars. The Kappa is whispering to his friends, and the goblin rolls his eyes and is roundly chastised for his common sense. Part of me wants to go over there and set the record straight. Tell that sentimental overgrown turtle he's got the wrong idea. I'm a bad witch, a bad person, and I don't deserve the trace of sweetwood in my bitters. I certainly can't have the love of my life back. What's so interesting over there? Cole asks. I focus on him, on his smile and his faintly dreamy eyes. They're just as blue as when he was young, but now ringed with laugh lines and care, and more handsome for the life behind them. He'd once made the terrible call to turn away from me for the sake of our girls, to divorce himself and them from a magic-mad witch, and he was correct to do so. But when I'd got help, he visited me in the tower. He'd brought the girls and kept them writing me letters, even when they didn't want to, even when they'd hated me. The least I could do now was share a coffee date with him. So, stranger, what do you do for a living? I teach minor alchemy at a local high school. The fools. He was so much smarter than that. Sometimes I tutor at the academy. How about you? I remove harmful magical anomalies in the city, I answer. I actually picked this place because it's near a witch-light I've been keeping an eye on. Oh, if the day goes well, we'll have to stop by and make a wish. I smirk at his optimism. We can. It's pretty stable. I don't think it will pop until winter at the rate it's going. Cole leans forward again. What's your favorite non-human cuisine, stranger? I find I enjoy dwarf cuisine the best. It's honest and earthy. Well, that's a pity. I got us reservations at the mermaid hut down by the bay, Cole says. Seaweed, rice, and fish. No harm in that, right? I love sushi. He knows that. I snort at him. Already made the reservations for a blind date. You're confident in yourself. Well, if I didn't like... He checks his phone. User 11227. I could always treat myself to a consolation salmon roll. I picked those numbers myself. They were my inmate numbers. Dr. Butterfield would call it a small cruelty to myself, but the reminder keeps me grounded. Oh, fuck! Dr. Butterfield, I'm still thought-casting. Thought-casting? I have a journal to keep now. It's one of the conditions of my release. Dr. Butterfield, so sorry about that. I'm sure it happens all the time. But I've been fairly good at keeping a clean journal without personal interactions. You'll laugh at me, but I almost reached out to ask you to clear the entire entry. I thought I probably shouldn't dwell on my past. Hazard yet forward, that's our motto, right? Cole convinced me to go to sushi with him, and I took him the long way. We did pass the Witch-Light, and it was stable, and it was beautiful. I'm going to see him again. It's probably a bad decision. We can talk about it at our next session, but... When we passed the Witch-Light, we both made a wish. He closed his eyes, but I kept mine open, and I saw that our wishes tangled together. It's not uncommon. At least 4 of the wishes got caught up and wrapped into a little starburst with mine and his. But for a moment it was just our hopes and dreams, just Cole's and mine, back together again, and on the same mystical course. And that might be an omen too. Maybe even a good one.
Well, that's another world saved, doomed, and or slightly weirder than we found it. Either way, you made it.
And when you're ready to plunge back into the abyss, we'll be here, lurking, whispering.
If you liked today's episode, tell a friend. If you hated today's episode,
You can find us on Substack, YouTube, or wherever you scream into the void about podcasts. Drop us a comment. Send us your thoughts in all caps. We love that. You're charming.
and hey, if you want to help keep these stories weird and our tea hot, you can throw some coins our way on Substack. It keeps the lights on. Literally, Lane is writing in the dark.
Paperback Radio, no ads, professional narrators, and humanish weirdos telling you strange tales week after week. After week, after week, after week.
We told you to stay in the back room, Lizzie. Thanks for wandering through the chaos with Paperback Radio.
See you next time.